Welcome to another episode of the Brown Bostonian Show. I'm your host, Kevin Parrington Turner. We're back and we're fully into the NBA season. Another one. Last night, the Boston Celtics defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers, won 20 to 117. I was able to watch it. It was a good one, highly anticipated. The NBA Cup game, which I don't care that much about, but nonetheless, the Celtics were able to pull it out late in the game thanks to a couple of shot making. The Celtics made 23s, over 23s. They didn't shoot 53s like they did nearly every game. They're averaging 50.5, 50 and a half threes per game so far this season. They didn't do it, but nonetheless, they still hit 23s. And they were able to pull it out with some big shot making. Jason Tatum finished with 33 points, 12 rebounds. Derek White had 19 points. He hit some big shots. Once again, Payne Pritchard coming off the bench for 13 points, and he's been a huge boost for the Celtics as they don't have Kristaps Porzingis, and we'll get later into that. I believe his ankle surgery went well. We saw him on the bench last night. Nonetheless, the Cavaliers, the game itself, it was a good game. Celtics jumped out to a lead, and they had it even in the third quarter. Jason Tatum finished the first half with 17 points, was 4 for 4 from behind the arc in the first half. It was a good game. Then the Cavs came back, and Donovan Mitchell, he started playing downhill. He finished with 35. He was good. Started making some big finishes around the paint, some turnaround jumpers, some big threes. Started really getting to it. Evan Mobley finished with 22 points, 11 rebounds. Jared Allen had 10 points. Garland did not have a good game. And I think that's really was a big thing. Mind you, this is the same team that the Celtics beat last year in the playoffs without Kristaps Porzingis, and it was kind of like a rematch. But this time, Garland didn't play a good game, so I think it will look different. But nonetheless, once the Cavaliers started to ramp up their defense, started being a little bit more physical, refs didn't call that many fouls as maybe I would like. Definitely the Celtics wouldn't like, but the game started to get close. They brought it in within two, but the Celtics were able to hold on. But they was able to push the ball. The Cavs was, and it created some issues. It created some issues for the Celtics when they began to push the tempo, pass the ball around, really go off some picks, not just play half speed off the picks, off the screens. It was doing full, it was fully running, pushing up the tempo, pushing the ball, making the defense work for it. And they hit some big shots too. And not only that, they hit some big shots, they got some points in the paint. They won the points in the paint by far. I think it was the 3 point shooting for the Celtics that really got them going, that really got them lead and really kept them in the game and kept held them with the lead. But nonetheless, Celtics were able to pull it out. Hand the Cavaliers their first loss of the season. It was 15. Now they're 15-1. They started the season 15 straight wins. Celtics are now 12-3, and that's why I was so heavily anticipating going into this game because the Cavs are at the top of the Eastern Conference, and the Celtics sit there in second place, 2.5 games back. Obviously, for the Celtics being the reigning champs, they don't really care too much about that. They don't care too much. I don't think they care too much about the standings. I don't think they care too much about the NBA Cup. Now, does that mean they want to win every game? Of course, but they have a goal that they want to get back to the NBA championship. They want to get back out the East, which leads me to my question: are the Cleveland Cavaliers the only threat, biggest threat for the Celtics in the East? Well, I'll say this: the Celtics prove that they belong to be considered the best team in the East, considered to be the favorites, despite the fact they're not in the number one spot right now. We've seen time and time again, especially in the Eastern Conference, that doesn't really mean too much. If it was the West, it'd be a little different, but it's not. So, with that being said, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers right now are definitely one of the better teams. We can't forget the Knicks right now, who are still trying to figure out, their rotation with Brunson, with Cat, new additions, getting rid of DiVincenzo. They're trying to figure out their defensive stuff. They're dealing with a little bit of injuries, some soreness around the league. So we can't forget about them. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers right now are the top of the number one contenders list, but I don't know if the Celtics are necessarily looking at the Cavs as if I don't think they underestimate any team, but I think they look at the Knicks like the best. But we can't forget the Pacers either, who handed the Celtics one of their three losses. Can't forget that. The Hawks, eh, Celtics blew them out first time they played, and they lost the second time in a close one. Pacers, the Celtics lost in overtime. They were down, and then they started to pick it back up and brought it to overtime, but couldn't finish the game off. I think there's a lot of other threats in the East, but in terms of real threats, we can't forget that Kristaps Porzingis is not in the rotation yet. He hasn't been all season. He will be come December, come next month. He's expected to. His ankle surgery went well. We saw him on the sidelines. He was in practice. Joe Mazzulla said he's starting to get in practice. The team came back to Boston to practice with him. It's not full blown practice, I believe, but he's starting to get back into his due diligence and trying to get back on the court by next month. So I think without Kristaps Porzingis, sure, you can maybe consider the Cavs to be the top, threat, but there's more than one threat than just the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know they started out 15-1. Kenny Atkinson, first year head coach, definitely got his team playing very hard, and they're healthy. We can't forget the Cavs weren't healthy last year as well. So weren't the Celtics, but the Cavs weren't healthy. Now that they're healthy, they look like a complete team. They look like a team with speed that can hit jump shots, that can protect the paint. They got shot blockers. Jared Allen, he had a double, 10 points, 11 rebounds. And I think they do fare well in terms of matchup with the Celtics, a Celtics team that defensively, the Celtics can do more than hold their own. This starting five, even with Al Horford in their starting five, there's not really too much mismatches. Now, when Sam Hauser gets in the court, is different. Kita, they're sent off the bench because Porzingis isn't there. Although he has some bright spots, caught some alley oops, played fairly well defense in the paint. He was slow. He's slow to get off his feet at times. He's slow to lateral movement, slower to get off the court, which you can expect from a big man. But you know, the Cavaliers knew that was their weak spots, the Celtics' weak spots, and they utilized it. Same thing with having Peyton Pritchard. Although he made some big shots, and he's my pick right now to be the sixth man of the year. Those are just the only real weaknesses of the Celtics. I don't see it. I don't see them having a weakness in the starting five. Even with Al Horford, he might be the weakest link, but I think the Cavaliers are at the top, and I think the Knicks are there right now. They're probably behind the Cavs, and I think the Pacers are a sleeper. I don't see any other team. I don't see the Hawks. I don't see anyone else kind of competing. I just see it's those teams right now. Um, where else in the East for the Celtics? I think they're making a case that they deserve to be the best. I mean, you see the Bucks; they already beat the Bucks twice. Philadelphia's going through their own things. The Eastern Conference is not strong this year, and I think it just fares better for the Celtics now. I don't count out the Miami Heat. I never will. Now with Eric Spoelstra, now with Jimmy Butler, I'll never count out the Heat to be in it. They got too many weapons, too many guys with grit. They just play hard every time. And once again, in the playoffs, anything can happen. We've seen that. But yeah, the Celtics, top of top, and they showed it. They showed it. They knew what it was, and they played like it. Now, when Kristaps Porzingis gets back, it's over. I truly believe that. I know they'll probably ease him into the lineup, to the rotation. Uh, they won't get him straight into playing full minutes. I don't know if he'll ever play 40 minutes this season. I don't think he will, because I don't think he has to. I don't even think in the playoffs he will. I think he'll play 30 minutes. He doesn't have to. We see Al Horford, he's one of the oldest guys in the league, play some great minutes and get some blocks, hit some threes, play rotation, drive to the basket, dribble up the court. He's doing well. So I don't think the Celtics should be worried about anything, especially with Kristaps Porzingis coming back. Without Kristaps Porzingis, they're still one of the best teams in the league. Uh, as far as the West for the rest of the league goes, I think the Western Conference is wide open. The Lakers looking good. I don't believe them, but they are in top 8 seeds right now. But I don't believe them. Thunder, I think, anytime you got a younger team, it can get a little tricky. It can always get a little tricky, but they're playing at the second seed. They're 11-4 right now. The Warriors, this team that the Celtics did lose to, one of the 3 losses, they're at the top. I do expect them to slow down. Draymond Green, some suspensions, and I saw what happened on the court with Zach Edey against the Grizzlies, and it's just too much kind of going on for the Warriors for me to think that they're going to keep this up. I think the Nuggets are going to do well. They still got Joker. They still got Michael Porter. Jamal Murray. They got those guys. They need some more depth, and I think they'll find it. I think the trade deadline is going to be super impactful, super important. But yeah, right now the Western Conference is wide open. As far as the East, like I said, I got the Celtics. That's really what it is. Other teams are struggling. Pacers struggle 6-8, but I'm not counting them out just because they got Siakam and they got Halliburton. They got O'Connell. They got a bunch of guys that when they push the ball up the court, they can definitely cause issues for the Celtics. The Magic's a young team. In terms of playoffs, I think it's all about matchups. I think the Cavs can get past the Magic once again. Now that they're even fully healthy, I think the Knicks can get past the Magic. I'm over. They're the team I'm overlooking right now. If I'm being completely honest, it's the Heat that I'm not overlooking. A little older, but anything can happen. But we're still early in the season. Celtics next game is against the Wizards. It's the NBA Cup game, 7 p.m. Friday. I expect it to be another win. Last time to play the Wizards, it was a blowout. I believe it was the second game of the season. If I'm not mistaken, it was a blowout. I expect them to be the same. Celtics are 1-1 in the NBA Cup. Who do I got winning it? I put it on the Brown Bostonian.com who had predictions. I'm forgetting it right now off the top of my head, but I don't know if the Celtics really care to win it. So as far as the NBA Cup, it is what it is. They lost to the Hawks. I do think if they see the Hawks again, it'll be a win. But yeah, quick episode. I'm gonna try to do more quick hits and more ramp it up episodes of covering the NBA, cover the Celtics more often. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in, people who do tune in, and I'm gonna keep building on this and keep following me through this journey through the season. I appreciate you. Peace.